Hello, this is the video of the introduction to data science course, and you will learn how to use the Jupyter notebook for the first time. Okay. I hope that you already have your Jupyter notebook in your computer, you already install, and we will do something with the Jupyter notebook. So first, you know that this course is the introduction to data science, and we are going to use the Python as the basis. So last time we already learned how to, based on my previous video, you know how you install and you turn on the Jupyter Notebook. So I will just use this folder. Okay, this is my folder. I think you will have your own folder to set your Jupyter Notebook. So in this case, I'm using this folder and just copy this one. And after you have this, you can just find the Anaconda prompt as I mentioned to you. You can turn on this Anaconda prompt. In some cases, if you install in the admin privileges, you need to right click, okay? You need to run as administrator. But I don't know, with your computer, you can just click the Anaconda prompt and then run the Jupyter Lab, or you need to click run as administrator. You need to uh, right click in your mouse and then run as administrator. So it depends on your computer and it depends on your privilege. Okay, so in my case I need to run this one, and then last time you know about cd is the change directory, and then give a space in order to set your folder for your Jupyter notebook. Okay, so when I click this one, and then I will type Jupyter Lab. Okay, so when I type Jupyter Lab, I just wait for some time. It will turn on the Jupyter Lab in your web browser. So in my case, I have this folder for the Jupyter Notebook, and just click on this one, okay, and you will see the file. So you can just put the file into this folder, okay, because I already have the in my case this is the folder of notebook. Okay, so I put the file ipynb in this folder. So just put the file in that folder, and then you can open the ipynb file in the Jupyter notebook. Okay, so in this case, yeah, I will just use this one, and let's do the step by step to understand the basic idea from this Jupyter notebook. As I already mentioned to you, the Jupyter notebook is one of the tool for the data science, and it is a web browser. Okay, actually it is based on the web browser, and it used a graphical interface to the IPython shell. Okay. And yeah, it shows some dynamic things if you want to do with the Jupyter notebook more with the web. Okay, so it will connect to web using the JavaScript, and also it provides some more functions about the mathematical equations and other things. Yeah. In the first video, I teach you how to run the Jupyter Notebook, just typing the Jupyter Notebook, and it will run the Jupyter Notebook in the web browser. And I give you one alternative way to run the Jupyter Notebook using the Jupyter Lab. Because in Jupyter Lab, you will see the left panel. In the left panel, you can arrange your files. So later on, we will have many Jupyter Notebook files. So with the Jupyter Lab, it will be more convenient for you to arrange those files, especially if you are dealing with the data. Okay, so if we have some data, then you need to put in, for example, one folder, because you need to put it in one folder. Then yeah, it will be very good if you arrange with this Jupyter Lab. And the way to do the Jupyter Lab, okay, Jupyter Lab is the next generation user interface for Project Jupyter. And yeah, it provides the notebook, the terminal, the text editor, file browser, its output, and etc. So you can see here, you can just click if you want to create a new Jupyter notebook with Python 3, or you want to create a new notebook for R, it's also available. Or if you want to make another file like the terminal text file, yeah, markdown file and other things, yeah, you can also use this tool. So Jupyter Lab is the command to open the Jupyter Lab in your web browser. And once you already have the web browser like this one, then you can just run your Jupyter notebook. Okay. I think that's all for the introduction, and let's do the basic Python. Okay. In the basic Python, in this case, we want to learn at least three things. Okay. The first is we will learn how to write text in Markdown. So what is Markdown? We will learn today. And we want to see also the basic concept of programming. So I'm expecting you that you already did the computer programming course, but in the case that you forgot all the basic concepts, or maybe some of you are new to the programming, so I will like to refresh a little bit about the basic concept, the three basic concepts: sequential, selection, and iteration. And we are going to learn some basic data structure in Python. Okay. So we are going to learn about list, dictionary, tuple, sets. Okay. So those are the basic one, and those are the built-in data structure in Python. Okay. So we will separate the materials into three. Okay. If there is no enough time for this video for everything on this Jupyter notebook, then I will split the video into several sections. The first, we will learn how to write into the Markdown. What is Markdown? So we will check. And basic concept of programming. So I will teach you about the statement, variable, sequential, selection, iteration, and some additional statement. And you will have learning check. So as I mentioned to you, this video will contain the course-based quiz, and hopefully this learning check will help you to understand the contents that you learn. Okay, let's go to the first. Markdown. What is Markdown? So there will be three things that I explained in this video. The first is about text description. So if you have this one, sorry, you can double click. Okay. So when you double click this, you will see this is the text. Okay. So this is a text description. So the text description is something that you need to write in order to explain what is the content of this one. So, sorry, this one is based on the text. And if you want to run this, you can just run the selected cells and it shows like this one. So if you want to do shortly with this running, you can press Control Enter. Okay. So to run the cell, you can press Control plus Enter. Okay. So you can press Control and Enter. Okay. Then you can see this one. But if you want to run the cell with additional new line, then you can press Shift plus Enter. So the Shift plus Enter will go to the next line. So you can see the blue color, it shows to the next line after you run your cell. Okay. So if you want to make it more line, then you can just type this one too, and it will give you like 2 lines. Okay. So in the text description, there are many rules that you need to follow. Okay. Yeah, for example, you want to emphasize some text, you know, in the Word file or in the Hangul file, you can see some text in the string, in the bold, okay, or some texts are in the italic, or some texts are in the underline. Okay, so I don't want to discuss many things, but those are the example for bold and italic. So if you want to make the string as bold, then you can just put the 3 underline and 3 underline, or you can just put 2 star, 2 star. Okay, so for example, okay, so you can double click this one. Okay, so this is the text description. So in order to fit with the word processor, so you need to find the function that fit with this Jupyter notebook. So for example, you can see this one, the star star emphasis star star. So once you run this one, just press Control Enter. So you can see that the text become bold. Okay? So if you want to change this one into italic, then okay, then I can just delete 1 star, okay, and I can just delete 1 star, and you can see that the text becomes italic. Okay, yeah, it depends on your requirement, what do you want to show in your text description. You can also use the mathematical symbols in this Jupyter notebook, and you need to find out the structure. So if you're familiar with LaTeX, okay, so the LaTeX is one of the word processing, and you will use some kind of code to determine the mathematical symbols. So this is the mathematical symbol that you want to write. Okay? So I think by the time, I think in the next few weeks, we will learn something about the mathematical symbols. So you can show this mathematical symbol. Okay, so if I run this, yeah, this is the fraction between the denominator and the numerator. And yeah, this is the mathematical symbol. When you put the dollar sign, the mathematical symbol will become some how is the font for the mathematical. And there is a monospace font. What is monospace font? Yeah, so the monospace font is the, yeah, if you just put what one single quotation, okay, it becomes a monospace font. So let's say text, okay. So actually it's just yeah, this is just monospace. Then there is no difference with the other things, but you want to show it, okay, you want to express with the same simple font. Line break, okay? So if you want to do the line break, then you need to pick 2 space, okay, so you want to make 2 space. And if you want to make the space with other kind of way, so there will be the HTML way to make a manual line break. Okay. Oh, before I continue, so this monospace font, actually it will be for the path. Okay, so file path or file names. Okay, so we will deal with the file name later, so I will not giving you the detail now, but we will check this one later. Okay, for the line break, you can see here we are using PR. Okay? PR means the break. So we'll go to the next line. So if I put one more PR, okay, then yeah, you can see that this has one more break. Okay, so if you put more PR, then it will contain more break here. And if you want to put the colors, okay, so the colors is based on the HTML file. Okay. So the color here is the way to put the font, and then just describe the color. Okay, and the color, yeah, it like just showing the whether it is blue, red, green, pink, yellow. Okay, so it is like the combination of those. And uh, just be careful, because sometimes the color might not working well. Okay, so in this case you can see that, okay, the text is in green. So if you want to just put like blue, for example, okay, so I will just blue this one. Yeah, the color will be blue. Okay, so if you combine with other color, then it is a kind of combination between those one. So some of them are not working, then you you need to check what kind of color that fit with this. I think I will not explain everything with the color things. It's just an additional thing. And then in the indented quoting. So indented quoting means you want to put some sign, but sometimes the sign might not work because, like for example, this sign, this greater than sign, it might conflict with this additional tag. Okay, so this is, we call it as tag, and this is the sign for showing greater than. So in this case, then you need to find a way to deal with this kind of sign. So later we will also check this one. And palettes. Okay. So palettes means if you want to put more items in your Word or in your word processing tools like this one, then you can just put the dash one and put a space after it, or a space, a dash, and a space. Okay. So in this case, you will see some kind of like this one. Okay. Okay. So this palette will create you more items or palettes. And if you want to make it as a number list, then you can put numbers like 1 dot, 2 dot, 3 dot. Okay. Let's say if I want to make like 1 dot check 1, and then 2 dot check 2. Okay. So something like this one, then you will see, yes, yeah, it just giving you the number list. Okay. And yeah, if you are intending to write the horizontal lines, then you can just use the 3 asterisks. Okay. There will be some other things like internal links. Okay, if you want to put the internal links, then you can see this kind of example. Okay. If now I think I will not use the link. Later you will see some link. Okay. So I want to connect to the internet, or I want to have the connection to one link, then you can use this alternative. And okay, those things are about the code. And yeah, if you want to go to some section, okay, then you need to get the ID. So what is the ID section ID? And then you just put this ID, and then it will go to that ID. Or yeah, you can also use this one. Okay, so there will be two. So we can have the internal link and the external link. So the external link means the HTTP. Yeah, you want to go to Google, then you can just go to Google. If you are using the internal link, then it means you want to go within the page. Okay. And yeah, we have headings. Okay, headings means the size of this markdown. Okay, so everything now is about the markdown. So the markdown can contain the heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, heading 4, and those depending on the number of shop. Okay. So if your shop is 1, then it will be the highest heading, or heading number 1. If it is 2, then heading 2. If it's 3, then heading 3. If it is 4, then heading 4. Okay. Yeah, you can make heading 5, heading 6, but basically after 6, it will be the same with the normal text. Table and figure. Okay, when you want to make table and figure, you need to understand how the Jupyter notebook do the formatting. So in order to create a table, you need to find a way like this one. Okay, so you need to write with the horizontal line. Okay, and the first line will be the header, and then after the header, you need to make a kind of separator. Okay, you need to separate between the header and the information. So this is the information from the table. Okay, so when you write this one, the result will be something like you can see in your screen. So like this one. So column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, column 5 are the headers, and the remaining are the contents. Okay. So we can also attach a figure. Okay. But now I'm not using any figure, so we will check also with the other example later. Okay, I guess I don't need to check the markdown learning way. Okay, so when you type this markdown, remember that you choose this markdown. So there are two, or there are three actually. You can just write the code, you can write the markdown, or you can write the raw. So if it is a raw, then you need to write with something related with the JavaScript. And I will not teach that one, so it's enough for you to understand only code and markdown. Okay, so we're going to enter the next chapter, which is about the basic concept of programming. So the basic concept of programming, it is more related to something about the way to deal with the code. Okay? If you are just using the markdown, okay, this is only the text description. Okay? So I'm using the heading one with only one shop, and then you will see if I run this one, then the heading one will appear. You can type a comment in the code section. Comment means a description in a text format that will not be executed during the code execution. So let's see if I have this in the code. Okay, so you can see now it is in the code. Okay, and this is markdown. So you need to distinguish them. Okay, markdown means the text description, and code means you need to write the code. Okay. And after you have this code, you want to describe something. So the code might be different. Okay? If you have the print hello like this one, okay? So it means the Python understand the syntax. But if you write something with your language, Python will not understand it. So you need to put the shop in order to make it as a comments. So comments is something that you want to explain, which Python does not understand. Okay, and yeah, this is the hello. And then if you want to type with two strings, okay, and the strings are different, so you can just use this one, hello Bernardo, and you can see that hello and Bernardo will be printed at the same time. Or if you want to print with different text, okay, so if the first is the string and the other is number, so you can just separate with comma, okay, and you will see this is my number. Or you want to print multiple lines, you can also do with the multiple lines by using the triple single quote. Okay, so this triple single quote, it will give you a result with multiple lines. So when you run this, yeah, you can see that this is my personal message. Please check your notebook for the detailed comments. So it is exactly the same. It is on. And doing an arithmetic operation is also straightforward. So you know, in if you learn Java, or if you learn C, if you learn other programming languages such as C++ or C#, okay, so you need to define the variable, and then after you know the variable type, you need to define the variable name. After you define the variable name, then you can do with the operators. Okay, so those operators are basically yeah, the same with the basic mathematics that we already learned, like plus is addition, minus is subtraction, multiplication, and yeah, this is division, integer division, modulo, exponent. So the basic idea of the operator are similar with what we learned in a mathematical way, but the way to express in Python is not the same with the other programming languages. So in other programming languages, you need to define the variable type, but here it's very simple. You don't need to find the data type, but instead, if you use number 2 plus 2, then Python will understand that it is a number and it is a function of addition. If you put the 2 minus 2, then Python understand it is number, and minus is the function of subtraction. 2 multiply 3, so it is a multiplication, then Python will do the multiplication. And 4 divided by 3, so it is a division, 1.3333. Okay, if you want to get the result as an integer division, then you can put the 2 backslash. So by using the 2 backslash, you will get the integer division, not the real number. Okay, so it means that you can just only get the first number. Exponent. Okay, so exponent means the 2 exponent 3, it will give you a result 8. Okay, 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2. So it's the same with the 2 exponent 2. Okay, I guess you know what is the difference between slash and the double backslash, slash and double slash. Yes, okay. So the one slash means just a division and the result will be a real value. If double slash means you will give the result as integer division. Okay, so if the result is integer, like for example, I will just change this one. Let's see, I will put 6 divided by 3. What is the result? Yep, 2.0. Okay, so it is a real value. But if you want to put this one, 6 divided by 3, okay, then it's 2. So it is integer. Integer means there is no value after the comma. Okay, so there's no value after the comma. So in this case, you want to make it as a real value. So the real value will have a value after the comma. So this 2.0. Okay. Okay, I will return back this one. Okay, so that's why you can see the real value and this is the integer value. Modulo is the mathematical operators to find the remaining numbers. So if I know 10 modulo 3, so the remaining number is 1. Okay. In every programming languages, you need to know about the variable. Okay. So the variable name is up to the user, okay, as long as you don't have the conflict with the reserved word in that programming languages. But you need to remember that if you are using Java, you need to define the data type. If you're using C, you need to define the data type. Okay. For example, if in the Java, you need to define like integer. Okay. So let me give you one example. This one, if you want to give one more cell, okay, you can just press plus here. Okay, so there's a plus here, and then let's say you want to in Java, okay, it's not here. In Java, if you want to put the integer, okay, integer x equal to something, okay, like this one. But in Python, you don't need to do this one because it is typeless. Okay, there is no it's not necessary to define the data type. Okay, if I don't need this cell, then you can just cut this cell. Okay, so this scissor here, and yeah, it will be deleted. So for example, I want to have x is the variable name and 9 is the value. So if I want to have x equals to 9, okay, and I want to print x, then the result will be 9. And I have, for example, variable name. Okay, so this variable name will be a variable with a string value. Okay, I guess you still remember, if you join the programming language, you need to know the integer, float, and string. Okay, so the string is a sequence of character. Okay, so we have P, we have A, we have R, we have K. So we'll just put that as the string into the variable name. And if I want to run this, okay, so the result is 5. And also you can have the real value. Okay, this is a real value, or we can say this is a float. Okay, this float. So the float, you want to print this one, yeah, this is the float. Okay. In Python, there is a built-in function to input. Okay, input means you want to get the user opinion or user idea or user input. And let's say I want to get the user input about the school name. And when the user input something, then it will be saved into this variable school. Okay, so what is your school name? For example, half. Okay, I will type half and then press enter. You will see the result of half. Okay. If you need an integer value, okay, you can use the function int. So the int is a function to convert the value from string into integer. Okay, note that the input should be an integer value, not letter or string. Okay, let's see. If I run this, for example, enter any integer value. Okay, enter any integer value. I use the input. So after I use the input, I convert it into integer. For example, if I input, for example, Korea. Okay, is it possible? Yeah, it will give you error because Korea is a letter, it's not a number, and you want to change into number. So you need to run again and say, let's say 50. Then yeah, it will give you 50. The other data type is float. Float is a number with the decimal. So if there is no decimal after the integer number, then the basic or the default will be the 0. So if I run this one, enter the temperature today, for example, 21, for example, then it will give you 21.0. In programming language, you need to understand about the sequence. Okay? Sequential is the basic concept of programming that everyone should understand. So the sequence of the code execution for any programming language would follow the top to bottom. Okay? So the sequence will be from top and then next and the next and the next and then left to right, left and then to right. And let's see, if I have x, so I need to define a variable, and then x equals 20. So it means insert a value 20 into the variable x. And then I have y equals to x multiplied by 5. So it means x equals to 20 will be multiplied with 5. The result will be 100. And I want to print y. So based on this sequence, I know that the result will be 100 because it is a sequence base. First define x and then x equals to 20 and then y equals to 20 multiplied by 5 and then print y. If you have some numbers with the arithmetic function, it will check the sequence from left to right. If I have x equal to 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5, then the result will be 15. Okay? This arithmetical operation. If the arithmetic operations are all the same, there's no need to check the precedence rule. So the precedent rules mean you need to determine which operator will go first. So for example, I have this one. 3 plus 2 multiplied by 4 minus 5 divided by 2. So which operator that should go first? Okay. So if you can check this one, okay, 3 plus 2, 5. Okay. And 5 multiplied by 4 is 20. 20 minus 5. 20 minus 5 is 20 minus 5, 15. 15 divided by 2, then the result is 7.5. Is it true? Oh, why? Why is 8.5? The result should be 7.5. Okay. If you follow from the left to right, that should be 7.5, but the result is 8.5. So the computer might not be wrong in this case because it follows the precedence rule. Okay, the precedence rule means the multiplication and the division will go first, and the plus and the minus will go next. Okay, so in this case, the result should be like 2 multiplied by 4. Okay, what is 2 multiplied by 4? 8. Okay, and then next we will go with the division. 5 divided by 2. What is 5 divided by 2? It's 2.5. Okay, and after I know that this is 8, so 3 plus 8. 3 plus 8 means 11. 11 minus 2.5. 11 minus 2.5 means 8.5. Okay. It's also different if you put the parentheses. So in this case, if you put the parentheses, then they will prioritize. So it will go first, okay? 5 multiply and then division, and then the remaining is the subtraction. So 5 multiplied by 4 is 20. 20 minus 2.5. Then the result is 17.5. Okay. Selection. Okay. In order to do the selection, we need to understand the concept of if. So if the condition is true, then you can print the statement after colon. Okay, we need to understand the colon concept. So in Python, they distinguish the colon and also the indentation. Okay, first we need to understand the conditional test. Okay, I think the basic idea of this conditional test are the same with other programming languages: equal, equal, not equal, and then greater than equal, and less than or equal to. Okay, so I think these are the same with the other programming languages. And for example, if I have x equals to 2, if x greater than 1, then I want to print x is greater than 1. Okay, so you can see if, and then this is the condition, and then after that you need to put the colon. Okay, so here, yeah, the result is 2 is greater than 1. So what 2 means the x is greater than 1. In any case, the condition can be true or false. So you can put the else statement. So the if, and then we have the condition like x modulo 2 equals to 0. So I want to check if the value is when it is divided by 2, there is no remaining value, then it is even. But if there is a remaining value, then it is an odd number. Okay. So I will just use this one, and then yeah, 5 is odd. Okay. If there are any more condition, you can use else-if statement. So the else-if statement means you want to see this other condition. Okay, so the other condition, for example, the other condition here we have the x is greater than 0. If it is greater than 0, then x is positive. If, okay, we have else-if. Okay, else-if means there is another condition that we need to check. If x is less than 0, then print x is a negative number. Okay, if not this one, and if not this one, then we have another else. Else this will be the last option. So if x is 0, then we will check x is greater than 0. If it is yes, then it is positive number. But in fact, x is not greater than 0. And then x is less than 0. No. Yeah. If it is true, then x will be the negative number. Since x is not greater than 0 and x is not less than 0, then x will be this one. X is 0. Okay. If you run, then the result is this. Iteration. In the iteration is a programming concept to do some statement until the condition is unmet. And if I want to print from a range of value, okay, please remember that Python we use the number from 0 and 0, the first number, until n minus 1. So for example, if I give what I I is a number in every element that we want to have from the range. So range is 6. So it means we will print from the number 0 until number 5. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 numbers, and it starts from 0. Okay, and if you run this, yeah, this is the result. Note that Python will do the iteration until n minus 1. And if the statement is range 1, 6, then it will print from 1 to 5. Okay, so different if you have the initial value. If there is no initial value, then it will start from 0. If you put the initial value of 1, then it will start from 1. If you put the initial value is 2, then it will start from 2. Okay, so 2. Okay, like this one. We have the other things like while. Okay, so this is a very simple one, like z equals to 0. So I define a variable z, and I want to check if z is less than 5. Oh yes, it is true. Since it is true, then I would like to print z, and then z will be added by 1. After I added z equals by 1, then 1 is less than 5. Oh yeah, it is true. Then it will be always repeated until the condition is unmet. Unmet means after the condition is false. Okay. So after z equals to 5, then the loop will be stopped. There's another statement that we need to learn. It is related to function. Okay. So function is a collection of statements about if you want to have a repetition, and the repetition is not only a single variable, but it is many statements, then you can use function. In a function, there are two types. Okay, so there are function without written value and function with written value. So I think there will be other examples, but in this video, I will just give you a very simple example about a function. So function without written value is function to execute the statement without giving any value for the return. If it is a function with written value, then there will be a statement to return a particular value according to the user requirement. A function will use def statement, and a function can contain arguments. Okay, arguments. What is argument? So if you learn the programming languages, computer programming, then you will know that argument is something about the parameter of the function. So there can be arguments, or there can be no arguments without arguments. And remember, in Python, you still need to define the colon. Okay, so after you have the first line, you need to put a colon. And don't forget that the Python have this indentation. So after you have the definition of this function, then you need to put space. Okay, let's say the first example is a function without parameter. So this one, if I want to run, okay, so I have the def test function. So this is the function name, and you need to put with the braces or the parentheses. So after we have this parenthesis, we put the colon and print hello function. So this hello function will be shown after you call this function name. Okay, remember this is the indentation. Okay, you need to put the indentation, and in order to call the function, just call the function name. This is the function name, this is the test function. So the result will be hello function because I want to print the hello function. If I want to have a function with two parameters, so I put name and school. Yeah, name and school means anything that you want to write, then it will be printed here. Let's say the function name is display. So display, I would like to display Bernardo and Huff. So Bernardo will be the value of the variable name, and half will be the value of variable school. So the print function will print name, which is Bernardo, and will print the school, which is half. If we have different statement like display, park, and Korea, so it's the same. Park will be regarded as name, and Korea will be regarded as the school. Lee will be regarded as name, and Seoul will be regarded as the school. Okay, like this one. If you want to have arguments with different parameters, then it's also fine. Let's say I want to put a list. Okay, list. Yeah, I think you have. We will learn about list later. Okay, so this is a list of number, and then I have name, and then count, and then I want to print name. Yeah, name, if I put this one as Bernardo, and then I put the count as a list, and then I want to do some mathematical operation, and then I want to return. Yeah, so return means I want to give a value after I finish this function. So the result will be, yeah, I will check the print. Okay, print means I will print according to the name, and then count, as you can see here, is the result. Is the result from the written statement. Okay, the learning check. Okay. So I guess you can check this one. You can try by yourself. Okay, I will not give you the answer, and this is one of the course-based quiz. Okay, and I think I will not ask you to submit this one. It's just for you. Okay, just for your individual. Can you write a function to show the first 5 even numbers? For example, if you make a function named even number 5, then the result will be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Can you make it? Okay, so try to make it. Okay, I will not give any answer for this one. You can try. So write a function to check whether a number is an even or odd. Okay, so let's say I need to input n. Okay, so using the input function from Python, and then make our new function check number n. Okay, so because if I put n equals to 5, then yeah, I need to show that the result is odd. Okay? If I input 6, then it will be divided by 2. If the number can be divided by 2, then it is an even number. Okay, so the result will be even or odd. Can you make it? Okay, so there is no deadline. You can just try it by yourself. Okay, no deadline for this quiz, so you can just try, and you don't need to submit it. You don't need to submit the result. Okay, and if you have any questions about this video, just feel free to send me email, and please check my next video in the next time of the course time. Okay, thank you very much for listening. See you.